Hello, everybody. This is again Dr. Francois, and again we are having our spiritual nutrition, the sixth episode. Dr. Susan, how come have we done so much? Sixth episode, it's unbelievable.
I know, it's been fun.
It's been
It's
fun,
been,
huh?
yes.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're looking at food and mood, how
Food
our
and mood.
mood impacts what food we eat, and what food we eat impacts our mood. So you feel what you eat.
Let's go.
Okay. So there's some really startling statistics when we look at what's happening. This is a North American statistic taking in some of the information that they've collected around how people feel. And many people reported 76 unexplained fatigue, just fatigue, and 58% saying they're suffering from mood swings, and some feeling 52%, a little over half of our population, feeling unmotivated and apathetic, and 50% suffering from some type of anxiety. 47 people that were reporting difficulty sleeping, and sometimes difficulty concentrating, 43%. That's a lot. And 42 suffering from depression, either chronic or what we call episodial types of depression. Something's happened in your life and you're depressed, but as you move on through life, that changes.
Food is impacting on how we feel.
Yes. And what I want to talk about today is how food could really, really change those statistics, because this is based on, we don't know what these people were eating, but if they're eating SAD, the standard North American diet, which is full of processed foods, we can begin to put the correlation where many of these conditions or feelings are coming from a diet that's quite depraved. So are you hungry for health? Are you feeling overweight, tired, lack of smell, bruise easily, take longer to heal, you're short of breath? All of these things come into play and they impact our mood. If you've got indigestion going on, I have a feeling you're going to be a little bit grumpy. If you're feeling aches in your joints, you're going to feel grumpy. If you're short of breath, you're going to say, what happened? When I was 10 years old, I used to be able to run and not be short of breath. So there are a lot of things that really are happening that can make us feel not as healthy. And we're hungry to find solutions. And the food you eat can change your life. It can change your life. All have a specific metabolic programming, and we all are specifically designed. What can touch one person and really make them feel better and lighter and clearer thinking might bog someone else down. So when we talk about food, we have to really understand the food and how it impacts us specifically.
Right.
We do know through research that our brain cells need specific foods. For example, they need the omegas. The brain needs lots of water. So there are some things that are common to all of us. There's some things that are specific to each of us. So diet does impact our DNA. It does impact how the DNA is reproduced and how it is manifest. We do know through a lot of research that food additives can cause neurological changes, and that impacts your mood. So if you're having a food that is containing a lot of pesticides, colorings, that will definitely make some neurological change and impact your mood. And we know that each cell in our body is programmed to need something else, and they need specific nutrition for energy so they can operate effectively. Sometimes I give my cells things they really don't need. If I go and have a nice gelato, because for some reason I am looking at a sugar and a need, and I apologize to my cells. I'm saying, I'm sorry, I'm giving you maybe more sugar than you need, but right now for my mood, this is satisfying something. I am being mindful and aware of what my cells need. And I promise my cells later on in the day, you're going to get the spinach and the good salad and the broccoli that you need. I promise.
I have a question, Dr. Suzanne. Sugar, again, sugar. My God. So you're talking about sugar. I guess that you are going to talk about it, but is there, is there an impact on sugar and mood? I mean, I think it's,
Oh,
we
absolutely.
know, but why sugar?
Because sugar is the basic food that we had from our first nurturing came from mother's milk, and it was high in sugar and high in fat. That's right there. And our body needs good sugars. Our brain cannot function without good sugar. When I say I'm getting a gelato, I'm getting a processed sugar, and that's not good. But if I took a good sugar, like just take a little bit of peanut butter and mix that with maple syrup, a good sugar, and take a tablespoon of that, and that would have been much more healthy way to satisfy that need.
So sugar
So
is
when
not
I
automatically
say,
bad.
pardon?
The sugar is not automatically bad.
No, it's the type of sugar. And that's why I said my cells need nutrition for energy. And sometimes we give it the wrong nutrition. And so that's when I go talking to my cells. I'm sorry, I really, this came out and grabbed me. And we'll get into that in just a minute when we look at what we choose to eat is often shaped by a memory. So when I reached for that gelato, there was a memory attached to that. A vacation in Italy. My grandfather giving me a nickel so I could go and get an ice cream cone. So we're attached to a memory of a food. And so that's a powerful driver when I look at food and mood in a relationship.
Mm.
The emotions that are attached to that. Feeling loved, feeling taken care of, being appreciated. That comes into play when we're choosing a food. And our geography. Maybe the gelato and the ice cream, I'm using that as an example, would not be a part of my food choice, because if I were living in grew up in another area of maybe Sweden or in Sudan or Sri Lanka, I might have a different way of satisfying and have memories attached to food. So we're driven, and we have to honor that. My geography drives some of those food choices. So a memory. Here we have a grandmother baking cookies with a child. I have those memories. They're powerful, powerful memories. And they're memories that make you feel safe. They're memories that make you feel loved. And so those are the things that happen. Here's an image of two little fellows that have developed memories that are creating really bad body image, bad health habits that will not sustain them throughout their life. So our food is shaped by our experiences based on memories, emotions, and our geography. Food choices are also, and food is a social activity. We know that when we eat alone, we tend to eat a lot more mindlessly. I love this image of these two little fellows enjoying their noodles together. It just is just joyful. And as they grow up, will they have memories of this particular food being shared with someone? Again, the memory comes back to a time, a place, and a person. So that's really a critical element when we begin to look at what foods we're attracted to and what mood it's satisfying. So the mood we're in will impact our food choice, and the food choice will impact the mood we go into. So that choice impacts what we eat, how we eat, where we eat, and how we combine those foods, such as Coke and French fries, noodles and pineapple. Where are you combining? How are you combining? So it's looking at food impacts the choice, and the mood impacts the food choice. So I really would like you to think about a food that you choose. Like here I have an apple. You can see that hopefully. And that memory of having this apple came with the first time I can remember an apple is the apple in the apple trees in my grandfather's farm. So this is attached with good memories. So good memories of the taste, good memories of the environment, good memories of who I was with, all of that. So there's another thing that impacts our mood, and it's the smell. And the smell taste, you can almost close your eyes and smell. I just closed my eyes and I thought immediately of going to the country fair when I was a child, and all the smells of the cotton candy and the caramel corn and the fried elephant ears, they call them. So all those smells of fats and sugars, and that's hardwired to my memory. I have another smell of a mug of green tea, and I smell that green tea and I'm immediately back in my grandmother's kitchen. So the smell is critically important to those choices and your mood. The nose really, and that smell gets the digestive system revved up. We begin to form saliva right there at that beginning. And when I picked up that apple, when I set it down, I had saliva forming. So subconsciously, I even started wanting to chew into this apple. Sometimes we taste what we think we'll taste, and I'll think, oh, that's going to be just like the ones on Grandpa's farm. But maybe it's not. But we imagine it, and we can almost imagine that taste. So the first step to taste is with our eyes. For those of us that are blessed with the sight, we can see, and then we begin to imagine, and we begin to then smell that. The food industry, and I'm going to take a sidebar, and that's why this last point is on this slide. The food industry is so aware that smell is critical to our being drawn to a particular food that they're infusing smells and odors into the packaging. The packaging process, so that when you walk by, there's a subtle smell that is emitted from the packaging. When I looked at the packaging research, I was like blown away that this is so powerful. It's become a part of a marketing scheme.
Wait a minute. You mean that the package itself, the cardboard and the plastic and all smells? Is that what you?
Yes, they're infusing smell and odors into the packaging because we know we're hardwired to be attracted to a smell.
Wow.
So that's why the food manufacturing, it's a food industry. It's a huge industry, powerful. They want us to buy. So I'm going to put you through a little bit of a walk down memory lane and take a food and think about it. I shared you this apple. My first memory of this food is seeing them growing in the apple tree. My grandfather reaching up, he was very tall, I was little, reaching up and getting an apple. There were in that orchard maybe 3 apple trees, one with the red apples, one with green apples. And the green apples were for my grandmother to make pie with those, but the red ones were for us to eat. And he said I could eat as many as I want, that it's okay, that it was giving me permission. So it's a freedom food for me. It's a food that's surrounded with love. It's a food that's surrounded with nature. And as I said, who was with me? My grandfather. So when you go through your foods inventory, I'm looking at a little clementine here, an orange. My first memory of an orange was Christmas morning. I may have been 3, and it was tucked in my Christmas stocking in the toe. That orange was so special. It was something very rare when I was growing up to be able to have an orange. That meant I had been good. I didn't get a piece of coal in my stocking. I had an orange. That meant that I was being rewarded.
You know what? My father used to tell me that they were having 1 orange per year at Christmas.
Yes.
They were not having any orange anytime during the year. It was only at Christmas because it was extremely rare, which is not the case today.
But so that's why apples and oranges have a powerful attraction for me. And I'm so grateful because they're beautiful memories around this. So I can describe. So as you look at a food that maybe that you want to eliminate from your intake, think about this food. What was the first memory of it? When did you eat it? Did you eat it right after you got a fight with someone and it made you feel better? Where were you? What was the situation? Who were you with? So that sometimes is the key to why you're addicted or maybe attracted to a particular food under a certain circumstance. We get into emotional eating, and that's where we eat. As I said, when you chose the food, were you upset? Cravings, what are the triggers? Did you were you upset and then chose a food to eat, like a bag of chips, and you just couldn't stop? Or then were you upset with yourself, and because you ate the food, now you're even not happy with yourself, you're down on yourself. All these become blockages to our ability to grow. They become a hurdle to our being able to grow spiritually and to open ourselves up to that powerful energy from the universe. So when we're looking at emotional eating, try to figure out, why am I doing this? Whoops. And being aware of it.
Right.
And we do know that poor nutrition is a primary cause of imbalanced psychological states. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods, trust me, if you go and eat a big bag of chips or crackers or something, you're going to feel sluggish and not very balanced. We know that nutritionally weak foods contribute to degenerative disease, and we know that food additives contribute to imbalance and cravings. So you have to peel off all of the layers, Dr. Francois, to be able to know what is the cause. A client, I could send a client to you for healing, and I will complement your healing by helping them tear off those layers of what is the root cause and key for them to want to eat a particular way.
To dig in.
Pardon?
To dig in.
Yes.
Right. Good.
So sometimes texture of foods are important, and they also are driven by our geography. The recipes across cultures, some cultures have crunchy foods, some have soggy foods, some have crispy, creamy, runny. So the textures are something also you're used to, and textures can impact what food choice you're going to make when you're in a particular mood. So being aware, for example, I remember I was an exchange student in Germany, and I was eating a creamy, rubbery, we were told we had to eat everything that was put in front of us, that this was critically important in terms of honoring the people that were hosting us, and there might be things that we're experiencing that we've never experienced before. And that was true. And I'm eating this and I'm smiling and I'm thinking, oh, it feels so rubbery and creamy and runny. And I ate it and found out that I was eating stomach tripe. And afterwards I thought, oh my goodness, what? But that was a part of their culture. It was a delicacy. It was a wonderful food for them. And so we cannot put down the fact that we are driven by certain textures. And for children, as a baby is growing up, they become introduced to particular textures. They're going to be having liquids early on, and then textures are brought in. And we're seeing more and more developmental research showing that the sooner we introduce the child to different textures, being able to, even though they don't have teeth, being able to be aware that there's a different texture, that's really critically important in terms of developing a more a wide range of textures in your dietary palate, so that you will be in later life much more open to rubbery, crunchy, chewy, crispy, fatty types of textures. So we are seeing that that's an important step. I often get a client that will say, the child only wants to eat yogurt and pudding and just creamy kinds of things, ice cream. So it's how do you introduce and get those into mixing a crunchy thing in with a creamy kind of thing, so that you can introduce those textures.